Okay, so we have here a game against
Bellon was
Lopez.
By far the most promising Spanish player in that period. The most talented and a very dangerous attacking player. With white and with black.
So he played the
So
Sicilian.
I played with white
Yes.
this time, and he tried the G6, some kind of dragon, for black.
Why some kind? Because he already.
Because it's not the normal line from the dragon. I played later on. I played the Marozzi variation. It is not the main variation, but it's a very good one for white.
Okay.
The main variation is the game that I had with Geller, as you remember, in such a important tournament. There, everything was forced, and it was the main variation from the dragon. Here, we have another main variation, the second, let's say, a very important possibility for white, but a very good one also. So the move order also is very important. So I took in d4, he played knight c6, and now c4. This is the so-called Marozzi variation. And now white tries to have a control over the central squares, d5, c5, e5, and have a better structure and move in such a way that he can have always a small initiative and a small advantage. Black has to try to do something to have some counterplay. So he played bishop g7, bishop e3. Again, everything is theory until now. So knight f6, knight c3, castle, bishop e2, and now he played a little bit unusual b6, but it's very good idea, for black, because he played in some other two games against Geller and against Cheskovsky, two very strong Soviet players, and he tried this again, and he had very good result with both of them. So that means that the variation is okay for black, it's playable. The normal line instead of b6 is d6. And after d6, he can play later on knight takes d4 and bishop e6, rook c8, and so on. Or finally, he can try knight d7, knight c5, and so on. Everything theory, very well known. So b6 is more or less, a novelty like this. Okay, castle, bishop b7. And now I played the best move here, f3. Why is the best move? I show you very quickly. White has two other possibilities here. He can play rook c1 or queen d2. After rook c1, black took in d4. He has to take with the bishop, of course. And now the surprise is bishop h6, and black is okay. He attacks the rook, and now if you move the rook in c2, you lose the pawn from e4. If you don't move the rook, you have to play back the bishop in e3, again, very bad for white. If you lose the central pawn in e4, you are clearly worse. If you give the exchange by playing f3 now, okay, you lose the exchange, we see what happens. But normally black has a good game, the exchange up, So that was played by Cheskovsky against Bellon. That was not good. Instead, f3, white can play also queen d2. Again, after queen d2, after knight takes d4, no, d4. The other knight.
Yes, sorry.
In d4, he has to take with the bishop now. And now, very unpleasant surprise, e5. Now you have to take in e5. The only move now.
Yes.
And now after knight takes e4, black is again better. It's better for black. Or at least has no problem at all. He's, clearly better for black. If now you take in e4, after bishop takes e5, black has no trouble, and he has the two bishops and clearly better position. It's no risk at all for black, and black can play for a win. He equalized without any problem.
So here actually black wins a piece? No.
No. You can take in e4, for instance, or you can play queen d4. Both of them. After queen d4, after bishop takes e5, queen takes e5, rook e8, you are probably lost with white. Not probably, sure. Because you have to move somewhere the queen, and afterwards you lose a piece. The bishop from e2. You have to move. Now he takes there and rook takes e2 and finished.
Yes.
Yeah? So it's very bad, of course. If not, if you take immediately the knight, if e5 takes, knight takes e4, yeah? And if you take in e4, after bishop takes e5, black has two bishops and initiative, a very strong initiative. And he's clearly better. Only black can play for a win here,
Yeah.
Such a position. Okay. So, coming back to our game, I played the good move, f3, and now after f3, white is better in any position. A small advantage, but very nice, very good, very nice position and clear small initiative and a clear small advantage. Okay, he comes back to the main variation with d6, and now queen d2, queen d7, and now this idea, which is novelty, a4. White comes very quickly on the queen side and has initiative, here. You have to be very careful already with black,
Yeah, usually white is going on the king side.
Well, white is, if you don't do anything, the normal idea is to take in c6 and play a5. And gives an edge, because you are better on the queen side. You have 3 against 2 on the other side. The a file, the bishop in e3 is very strong. You have the clear idea, rook from a5, for instance, and the other rook to a1, and it's very unpleasant for black. There's no counterplay at all, Yeah. So he plays e6. He threatens later on to try to play d5 and to open the game and free a little bit the position, for black.
Yeah.
Okay, rook fd1, rook fd8, and okay, now we took in c6, he took in c6 with the queen, yeah? He goes away with the queen from the d file, So now a5, he takes in a5, and knight b5. Okay, now we have this position again. White is better in any position, but it's not clear if it's decisive advantage or more or less a small or a little bit bigger advantage for white, But in any case, white is clearly better, So now he has to take the decision. He played a6 because otherwise he loses the pawn from a7,
Yes.
The threat was knight takes a7, then you come back to b5 and you want to take back in a5, winning pawn. If he doesn't do this,
Yeah.
So he forces the decision. Now a6, knight takes d6, knight e8 first, and c5. Okay. And in my opinion here, he overstepped a little bit the limit, thinking that everything is okay for black. And now he has a good game and he can try himself something with black, Now he had to play immediately, in my opinion, bishop e5. And that was more or less okay for black, A little bit better for white.
In order to get rid of this knight,
yes,
right?
No, to get back, to get that his pawn. White threatens to have a pawn up later on, But instead he played rook d7 with the threat to comes with the other rook to d8, and threaten something, but he has no time. Because now after queen takes a5, he has no time to play rook d8, because after rook d8 we take immediately with the bishop in a6.
Yes.
And he has to take, we trade everything and we have pawn up and winning position with white, So now he has to, to choose again, and he took this is the mistake, after bishop b2, rook b1, and now he realized that he has to take in d6, but again, maybe was a little bit better to play bishop e5, better, clearly better for white, but okay, maybe a small hope. Okay, now he took there, and after rook d6, black is lost by force here. Why? We'll see. Now he took in d6, I took in d6, and now he has to play back the bishop, because unfortunately for him, he wanted to play, but it's not possible anymore, queen c2. What happens after queen c2? Bishop in b2. If he plays there, queen c2, now comes the surprise. Rook takes b2, queen takes b2, d7. Well, the threat
d7
to queen, yeah.
Yes.
Now has two possibilities. He takes in e2 or he plays queen f6. If he plays queen f6, after bishop b6, he loses a piece by force.
Bishop b6.
b6, yeah. Afterwards, d8 check and he resigns.
Yes.
Piece up, you know.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say he takes in e2,
Yes.
d8 check, queen, d8 check. He has to take. We take, we check. King g7, bishop d4, and he will be mated in a few moves.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So everything will be forced. So
So
now,
he's
unfortunately
one step from winning, but he's not winning.
yeah. No, I mean, he wanted to have a good game, not
Yeah.
winning, but yeah, I mean. So instead of this, he has to, I mean, I took in d6, he has to take, I took, and now bishop f6. And now after bishop f6, queen c7, and he resigned because he has no defense here.
Yeah, he resigned here.
Has no possibility to do something, you know. If white threatens to win a piece in one move.
Okay. And cannot defend the bishop? No.
How?
The queen. If he takes the queen here,
You take, and after bishop c8, the only move, rook b8, and resigns.
Yeah.
If he goes to c6, yeah, instead of c8, rook b8 check and queen afterwards, and finished. Yeah, and now check, yeah. King g7, yeah, and c8 queen.
yeah.
Or, okay, we can take also in a8, he has to take, and then we queen. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. The same thing, yeah.
The same thing.
Yeah.
All right.
This is classical Sicilian, you know. If I told you, if you don't win, I mean, if you don't lose with black in 20 moves, in 25 moves, everything is okay, you know. But you can have such a surprise and you lose very quickly with black, you know, in Sicilian. You can have this possibility also. Yeah? And this was a very good example, you know, this game.
Nice.
Yeah. Classical Sicilian, you know, it's a small catastrophe for black, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
You're welcome.